All right, Nate, we are live, man. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Virtual Millionaire Show. I have with me Nathan Payne. Nathan, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Dude, I'm ready for this, man. I'm born ready. Let's go.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I think a lot of people who are tuning into this episode are gonna really resonate with your story, man. Um, it just goes to show that you don't have to really have a ton of experience to get started. In fact, you just got to have a little bit of ambitious and hustle, right? So, this is a live episode. And so, for those of you who are watching, comment below, let us know where you're tuning in from. But also, at the end of this, we're going to open it up for questions for Nathan. So, be thinking about questions as you come right along this episode with us here. And so, everyone wants to know, who are you, Nathan, and how did you get into real estate?
All right. Well, my name, you got it, Nathan Payne, and I'm originally was born in Utah, moved out to Georgia when I was, in elementary school. Grew up in Georgia. Went to high school out there. Wrestled in high school. That was a sport of my choice. I sucked when I first started, and then I got better. And that's kind of like what got me in the mindset of like, hey, if you just practice and just don't give up, you'll get good at something. So like I don't even know why I'm talking about wrestling because I never talk about that on podcasts, but I'm like, well, why not talk about it today? So when I wrestled in high school, it was trash. Like I started freshman year, I was getting wrecked like every match to the point where my parents, I didn't even think they like came to my matches because they're like, yo, he's about to get wrecked. Like I'm not even, at least that's what I thought. Right. So I was getting wrecked, but I didn't give up. And then my dad saw, he's like, hey, this guy's not going to give up. Let's actually put some, let's actually have him, give him some correct training. Right. So I went to go to coaching, like camps in the summer. So eventually I got better. Freshman year, I sucked. Second year, I got third in state in JV, right? Well, just not seen, I wasn't like a varsity yet. Then I kept going. And then senior year, I got third in the state of Georgia and didn't win. The guy that I lost to in the semifinals that won, he's a freaking beast. He ended up wrestling in Iowa Central, which is a really good school, and he'd been wrestling since he was like right out the womb, dude. This guy
Good
been
old
going
Midwest
forever.
boy, right? That's
Yeah,
all
he,
they
yeah,
that's what they're good at. Yeah.
yeah, he was really good, dude. So his name was Joey Laser. I mean, he even had the cool name, bro. Yeah. So anyway, that taught me how to like not give up, right? Like to keep going towards stuff. So after high school, went on a mission for my church from 19 to 21 years old, where I talked about Jesus, was getting denied daily. 99% of the people I talked to did not want to talk about Jesus. Obviously, they're like, "Get away from me, dude." You know, I'm not trying to talk to you about Jesus. So that taught me to take no as an answer, like not get offended by no's and just keep going. And then after my mission, went to college. College, did door to door sales, had the muscle of not giving up, built up, and rejection not bothering me. So I did door to door sales for 6 years, built up teams, was one of the top sales guys in my company. And then went into real estate with zero knowledge of real estate other than the knowledge that if you want to get good at something, don't give up. So that's me. That's where I'm at
I
right now.
heard dude, I love it. I love it. And some of the most successful people that I've met have very similar stories in the fact that they just don't take no for an answer. Like no is just the next step closer to yes, right? And so
Yeah, that's
by
right.
not willing to be giving up, it's led you to down the path that you are now. And kudos to you, man. Door to door sales is not an easy task. It takes a very
It's
unique skill set to
It's
do that.
wild, bro. It's wild,
Oh,
dude. I mean, the thing that I liked the most about it, brother, is every door you meet someone different. And that was something I thought was fun. I was like, man, you got old granny on this door. What am I gonna get next door? Oh, some dude that wants to kill me, some big, dude with his shirt off. So
yeah.
you saw some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's totally a mystery. And like knowing what I know about real estate, like I did not come from a background of like door to door sales or any even sales for that matter. I came from a background of nutrition, but I have so much respect for everybody who comes and knocks on our door. Like we live in Vegas, and so like solar panels business is crazy out here. Like every week in the
Right.
summertime, and every time somebody comes up, I have so much respect for them, and I'm like almost trying to recruit them because I'm like if they can do this and make this, they're gonna crush it in real estate sales. And
Dude.
and
Yeah.
so it's
I got
powerful. So
I do the same thing. I'm like, hey, you wanna come in? Let me give you a glass of water. Let's talk about what you're doing.
Right, right, and test them a little bit, see their negotiation skills.
That's
So
right.
that led you to real estate, and this show is all about, getting started in real estate, but also how to make it a sustainable business and scaling it to just pass, a few deals a month. Because I feel like a lot of people get started and they fail, they fail, they fail, and like, oh man, this is too much. They give up. So was your experience when you just got into real estate? How long did it take you to get that first deal?
3 months. It took 3 months. We started out knocking doors. Me and my business partner. We started. I started out with a business partner, like most people, and went out, knocked doors. Didn't we actually got our first deal from knocking doors, but well, we got a deal from knocking doors, but it closed like 6 months, 8 months later, which is a crazy story. But so that wasn't my first deal. It was knocked it and became a deal later. But my first deal that closed came from calling an expired listings list of a guy that took his property down from Croatia. His name was Donald, and he was like listed the house. No one gave him the offer he wanted. He's in pre-foreclosure, and he was just going to lose the house. And me and my buddy went on and like convinced him. We're like, dude, you cannot lose this house. And he's like, fine. And that's how we got the deal, the first deal.
All right. So first deal was an expired listing. So you were cold calling expired listings then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
For
man.
3 months.
So how much persistence did it take on that lead particularly? I'm sure there was more than just a few phone calls, right?
Oh, oh my gosh, bro, this was wild. So the first call that my buddy made, so he actually made the initial contact. He called the guy, and the dude was like half asleep. It was like, what? And they're like, hey, were you selling? And the guy's like, I don't know. Come on over. Maybe. So I was talking to my buddy about it, and he's like, dude, this guy said he's selling. We might as well check it out. So we went and knocked on his door. Dude's like, it's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Dude's like just getting up and, just giving up on life because he's like, I need to go back to Croatia, bump America. And so we went in there. It took like 7 or 8 visits. And sometimes we would call this guy and he wouldn't answer his phone, but we're like, dude, we know Donald's at his house. Where else is he going to be? So we would go to the house and knock on the door, be like, yo, Donald, wake up. We're here. And he'd let us in and we'd talk. And finally he was like, yeah, all right, I'll sell it to you guys 185. And we didn't know, we didn't have buyers, so we had to find some. So we text we were working with a broker at the time, and like not partnering, but he was letting us work at his office. So he's like, let me blast this deal out to every agent I know in the in Utah. So we had like a list of 5,000 agents, and these agents thought we were listing the house. So they showed up to the showing with like families and stuff, and we're like, yo, this ain't it. This is not the way to do it. And Donald had a bunch of dogs. So we're like, Donald, we're going to show your house to our buyers or people we're working with. We need you to go to the dog park. And we showed the house like 3 times. And every time we're like, you got to go to the dog park, bro. And he's like, fine. So it was just terribly done. But yeah, crazy experience, bro.
I love it. I mean, guys, listen, for people who are listening to this, this is the reality of sometimes how you have to get your first deal done. It's not going to be perfect. I have stories for days about things and like, what did you learn from that, man? Like, what was the biggest lesson? Because I'm sure there were like 15 to 20 lessons
Oh
of what
yeah.
not to do, but like, what was the biggest takeaway?
Probably not how not to do a deal.
Just how don't do this again.
Yeah. Yeah, like how not to do a walkthrough. I mean, come on. We're like, hey man, you got to go 3 times, and we made them leave, and then blasted out the deal. We actually, so I don't know what state are you in?
I'm in Las
What state?
Vegas.
Oh yeah, Las Vegas. So in
Yep.
Utah, the first deal that we were trying to do, we got sent to the board of realtors because we sent out the deal to the list of agents, and someone ratted on us. So the
Of course.
first
Yeah.
deal we went, and they're like, hey, you can't be marketing your contracts, that's illegal. And we were just like, bro, we have no idea what you're talking about. We don't even know like I knew nothing about real estate, right? So we does that happen in Vegas? Because I know in Utah they've kind of tried to crack down a little bit on the board of realtors and like regulations. So that happened to us
I
when we
think it
first started.
I think it happens everywhere in the country. So, like, I do majority of my business in the Midwest, specifically
Mhm.
Nebraska, and they just made a law that you have to have a real estate license to even assign contracts right now.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
it's definitely an issue. Realtors hate it.
Yeah. So first experience they sent us at, to there, and we were like, he had the tape recorder on the table, and we were like tripping out because we're like, I don't even know what can happen to us. And yeah, so he was like, you guys need to stop. But he probably like didn't follow up or do anything else because he probably didn't think we were gonna make it. He's like, these guys are so new, they don't know what they're doing. Who cares about these guys, you know?
And you're talking about the seller, right? Who was thinking that?
No, the board that so when we went to the board of realtors, we met with like the head agent or whoever's
Oh,
in
they are
charge
the
of.
ones that had a tape recorder on the table. They wanted to document the conversation.
Yes, sorry if
Oh
that's
my
confusing. But
gosh.
yeah, we went there to like the city, and we sat down with like the head board of realtors that was trying to like get us scared that we couldn't wholesale. And we were just like, I don't know what's going on. And yeah, so for a first deal, pretty interesting experiences to try and get wrecked by the board of realtors at the first go. But we were like, who cares, man? We're
Did
going
you
to keep
make money
going.
on the deal?
Uh 5K, split it 50-50, 2,500 each. You can say you made money, but that ain't a lot.
Dude, that's worthy of ringing a bell. Like, I know it's not a lot
Yeah.
of money, but honestly, if you can learn something and make money, that's incredible, right? I feel like a lot of people maybe had that similar experience and then would just give up, be like, "Hey, these guys said it's illegal. I can't do this. I'm done. Like this business isn't for me." Right? I'm sure there's plenty of people who've came to that conclusion, and I was almost one of those people, man. My first deal fell through and I was taking time away from lunch to go show this property and like at my job. It was crazy. And then luckily I got my first deal and I saw that it was real. And so
Yeah.
like that first deal is everything, man. So
That's
what
sometimes
happens?
that's all you need. You just need it for it to be real to you, even though, we're on this podcast saying it is to someone, they might not believe it until they do it, right?
What's 100% true? 100%. So what happens next, man? How does your business evolve once you had the proof of concept? Did you just keep persisting forward and then like kind of walk us through that journey?
Yo, terrible. It was a terrible businessman. I'm a terrible businessman. I would right after that, we tried to hire this all out. We're like, screw call, and I ain't trying to call anyone ever again. So I
Right?
tried to hire it out to my buddies that went to college with me. And I'm like, these are Americans. They'll be good at calling. And they weren't. They came out, we paid them $15 an hour, which is just don't ever do that. It's way too much. We were paying them $15 an hour to call part-time. They'd come in, hammer the phones for 4 hours, and we didn't see a deal from that, and that bled us dry on that 5K, right? Because we didn't take all that money and pay ourselves yet. So that bled us dry on that. But we did do other deals. Like, this is the crazy thing about when you first start, you have no idea what you're doing. So there was this deal that we came across that we made $42,000 on the wholesale fee. It was a great deal.
Woo.
Looking at the deal now, it probably would have been like a $280,000 deal, because we got it at $200,000. The guy sold it to us on seller finance, no interest, for like 20 years. And then we assigned it to somebody for like 42. And the guy ended up flipping it and selling it for like 580. Yeah,
Oh my
and we had it
gosh.
like at 200. The numbers are something crazy like that. So, but we didn't know. We had no idea what we were doing, bro. And if we
Yeah.
had someone in our corner that was like, "Hey guys, let's take this thing. Let's just flip this thing. Why are you going to wholesale this?" But again, you don't know what you don't know, and wish I knew, but it's whatever. So that's
Hindsight
what
is
happened.
2020.
Right. So that happened. Hired, lost all our money, not lost all our money, wasted all our money. And it's just, there starts the roller coaster ride, brother. I mean, we can fast forward. We saw success. We were doing deals, but it was never consistent, right? And it didn't really get consistent until I started looking at life and others and people like you, other investors, as like not competition. I started looking at as like, how can we collaborate? How can we work together? And a mindset of shifting of scarcity over, not being scarce versus looking at life as there's abundancy, or there's abundant a lot of deals out there. That's when I started doing deals consistently, and it started getting better.
I mean, gosh, that's so key. And I was just talking to David Meltzner about this, and he's like, there is so much abundance in this real estate world, and so many people are afraid to reach out and ask for help. I mean, I know my first deal, I paid a finder's fee of $500, but looking back, it was probably a $50,000 deal. I mean, you can just imagine that with the lack of experience and knowledge, that you're gonna leave probably ten times the amount of money on the table, like every
Oh
single
yeah.
time. And so if you're listening to this, guys, Nathan is a wealth of knowledge. I've done a couple hundred deals. Like, we know what we're talking about, to the point of, hey, we don't want to be greedy. We want to help people. If you have a deal or a situation, reach out to us. Like, we'll point you in the right direction, and we'll tell you if it's not a deal too. But at least now you know that, hey, maybe I won't leave 10 times the money on the table. So uh, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and it goes back to like pretty much anything you do in life, right? You're not going to be obviously as good as you are in the future. Like for example, when I did door to door, um, you know, I sucked, then I got better, and then I managed teams. So I would go out and give an area, like a neighborhood, to a brand new person, right? They'd knock the whole neighborhood and they'd say, "There's no deals in there, Nate. This area sucks." Right? They'd blame it on the area. I'd be like, okay. And then I would go knock their neighborhoods and I'd sell twice, three times the accounts that they would. Well, they didn't really sell any. So, but I would sell a ton of people. And that's what, because they're going to miss out on deals that I would do. And that's the same thing as in real estate. You're going to miss out on deals or make less money than I can make because I know what I'm doing. And same thing with wrestling. If we bring it back to that, you're going to get pinned by people I won't. Right. So it's just, it takes time, takes experience, and you'll get there.
Yeah, and it's a proven process. I mean, we're not the only people in this country who are doing deals every single week consistently. Like, there are plenty of other people out there who are doing it, but they've figured out something that others have not. And it all comes back to the process, but it's one thing to get the leads, it's a whole nother thing to convert them too. So, what are you guys doing like right now in this? Obviously, I said thriving in a virtual market. Um, Kind of catch me up to speed. What's your business look like right now today?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I took a big shift in what I do. So at the beginning of the year, we had multiple acquisitions managers, dispo, transaction coordinators, leads managers, right? The normal business model, right, of a wholesaling business. And when the market shifted like 3 or 4 months ago, we had most of our acquisition reps were foreign. They're virtual assistants in Colombia. Americans, expatriates, they were fine, but they weren't great. And we were still spending like the 15, 20, 30,000, whatever on marketing. And we just weren't getting the return on our investment because it was a little harder to negotiate. And we're doing nationwide, but specifically in Utah. So it's some people say it's tougher. And I was like, you know what, man? I don't, we got to change something up. And do you know who Tom Kroll is from Coaching Inc?
Of
You know who
course, I
that
know
is?
who Tom Kroll is. Yeah, of
Okay.
course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So
No, but for people who don't know who Tom Kroll is, he used to own Wholesaling Inc. back in the day. So he
yeah,
sold Wholesaling Inc.
he's the GOAT. He's awesome. So
He
I
is.
was
Yeah.
talking to him about my business. And I was like, talking about my business partner that I started with, and he's like, dude, what are you doing with a business partner? You don't need a business partner. And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, we started together. I'm not trying to bail on him. He's like, you don't need a business partner. Like, I'm actually in getting mentored by Tom, and he's like, I'm not going to mentor you unless you drop your business partner. That's what he said. And I was like, well, I
Wow.
meant, yeah, as he said, I was like, okay, well, let me talk to my business partner. I was like, I said, Kory, we're homies. I just said, hey, dude, we really don't need each other. The market shifted. Business is looking a little different. I'm gonna do my own thing. Okay. And he's like, okay, that's fine. So my business, what it looks like now, instead of a big wholesaling company, it's me and 3 virtual assistants that run my coaching business and help me get deals. And we just JV and we pull deals off the MLS, off of buyers, if it fits the criteria of our buyers. So I don't have like some crazy business right now. It's just me, and I do deals, and it feeds me and it feeds my company. And we show people how to do deals like part-time, and that's 9 to 5ers. This is the strategy that I do. It's called reverse wholesaling. I call it painless wholesaling because it's easy. You just find deals for investors that their buying criteria, and you patch them up. Yeah, you're not going to make like 80 to 50, 60K, whatever, like you can do on spreads. You're going to make 5, 10. But for me, when I was running that big wholesaling company, we'd make big spreads of 6 figures, but after having to pay everyone out and split 50%, I mean, it wasn't that profitable. I'll straight up be real with you guys. It wasn't as profitable as I'd like. And right now I run a business that takes half my time to run. And I would say sometimes I make more and sometimes I make the same, and it's less
Wow.
of a headache. So that's where I'm at
That
in
is
my business.
so cool to hear that, man, because I think a lot of people got kind of almost brainwashed into thinking, including not I wouldn't say I was brainwashed, but just thinking that scaling was the only cool way to run a wholesaling operation. And you're right,
Nah.
man. I mean, we have 10 employees right now, like 10
Yep.
in the United States employees all across the country in a few different markets. And um, overhead gets expensive. And so when the market does shift, rather than you being able to be like, "Oh, no big deal. Like, I'll just move a VA here and like we'll just go get one more deal." Like, you still have to maintain that revenue. And if you don't have a sharp team in place to do that, well, you might instead of making 50,000 a month, you might go to losing 30 or 40,000 a month. And so,
Right.
for everyone watching this, what I'm doing versus what Nathan doing, they're both exceptional and they both work, but you might find out that you just don't want to manage a team, but rather you want it more intimate, and that totally works. And I love your approach, man. I think that's awesome that you're really reversing it. So you already know who your buyers are, which eliminates a lot of stress of selling a deal too. You already
For
know what they
sure,
want.
man. The nationwide model is painful, especially if you get deals that you don't know if you could sell them, you know what I'm saying? And that's usually what happens if you have like nationwide pay-per-click going. That's what our lead gen was. So not that yours is wrong or mine is wrong. It's just difference of lifestyle and what you want. And my lifestyle is I want something super chill.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I want. And I'm
When
sure
you
yours is chill
work,
too once you get it streamlined. But for me, I didn't want to manage that big old team.
yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, I don't chill typically, but I guess for me, it's like I have this vision of this company and chilling is like working on something. And I'm sure for you too, like for the coaching and mentorship, you're always excited to be pushing the needle forward, right?
Yeah,
And so I know
the
you don't
coaching and
chill, Nathan.
no, no, yeah. The coaching, the mentorship, definitely not chilling on that part. But I'm talking about on the real estate side. Like I
Yeah.
wanted something that like was a little bit less intensive because after doing it for 4 years and grinding, and I'm like, dude, there's got to be a better way for me. And it's let's like for example, I did a call with Brent Daniels. I help him with the coaching, and there's a girl that was on there that has a deal, and she's like, "Can you help me JV with it?" And I said, "Yeah." That's chill for me. It's like I didn't have to talk to the seller. I didn't have to do anything. I just have to connect her to a buyer, and I think we can sell it. That's so chill. Yeah,
That
maybe the
is
wrong word. A little
no,
easier.
no, I see I totally see what you're saying, but that is like the best, most laid back version of having the hustle, right? The hustle culture where it's like,
Right.
work all day long, build this whole team up, don't take any days off. Like that's old school. Like the new school is, let's make things efficient. Let's work smarter, not harder, right? And let's make more money doing it all collectively as an abundant team rather than I have to do all this by myself. And
Nailed
so,
it. Yeah.
dude, it's incredible. And so you're finding opportunities through MLS, and you're finding opportunities through other investors, probably in your community, other
Mhm.
influencers communities as well. Is that what's working right now?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm closing a deal on Monday in Columbia, South Carolina. Just got the HUD statement, $19,000, and I'm splitting it with one of my students. I don't like the word students, what members of my community. And he brought it to me. I found the buyer. I'm giving him 60%. I'm taking 40 because he's a part of the membership, and it was easy. It
Uh,
like he did the negotiations. I just had to find the buyer, and I had a buyer in like I think in a day.
I love that, man. How are you finding buyers in these markets where you don't have a established relationship with already?
I leverage agents. That's what I do. Like I'll look for on batch leads. I'll look at like what agents or on Zillow. I'll see what agents are in the area that are representing a flipper, and I just call them and say, hey, can you connect me to anyone you know in the area that would want a house right by the one you're listing? I'll pay you a commission. That's how we find most of our buyers.
That's smart, man. That's smart. I know a lot of people are using Investor Lift, including ourselves, and you know, you still have to be very strategic about the way you're finding these people, because blasting the days of blasting a list, I think, are long gone,
That's
because
right, brother.
buyers are, I think a lot of people just went out of the market. Like, hey, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait this one out.
Right. Yeah. You need relationships. That's what's
Yep.
going to work right now. Is if you know someone, they trust you, and you're like, dude, buy this deal. It's a good deal. They'll do it. And that's like what's working. That's why I teach reverse wholesaling, because I'm like, let me talk to my top guys that I know are buying. Let me bring them deals and they'll buy it. But if you blast my guys on a list, they're probably not going to look at your email.
Yeah, exactly. So are you doing any off-market acquisitions like on your own with paid marketing spend, like any PPC, anything like that right now?
No, dude, zero. I mean, I'll
Gosh,
be
that
straight. So let
sounds
me
so
tell you,
nice.
and I got to be straight up real with everyone on here. And let me tell you the power of having a community and leverage and a YouTube channel and social media. I go out to um, cold calling companies. I go out to Home Light and I say, look, I have a community. I'll close your leads for you on my community live. Give me leads for free. And they hook me up with leads. So I get leads from Home Light, I get leads from a cold calling company, I get leads from like I'm just getting leads that I don't have to pay. And I know that's not fair for a lot of people that don't get to do that, but I share the love. Like, come into my community and I'll give you leads. You want leads? I'll hook you up. We just got to partner. And that's what I found out a lot, brother. I found out that a lot of these guys that are crushing it at the top, that are influencers or whatever, they get hooked up. I found that
Yeah.
out. And I'm not here to hide that from anybody. You guys go build a community. And if you can't yet, hit me up. I'm sure you could do the same thing, man. I mean, if you hit up some neat, I speed the lead any of these companies that maybe might be struggling right now to send out leads. You say, hey, look, I'll close your leads live. They'll give you
That's free
leads.
advertising for them. That's
It is.
exposure.
Yeah.
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 No, that's really awesome. I mean, I've seen challenges like that with obviously RJ Bates. He's done the live 50-day deal challenge, and man, I don't even want to know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars he probably made from that experience. But
Mhm.
it just goes to show that that is obviously it works 100%.
Right.
So
So yeah,
you're
no spend on my end.
I like that,
It's
man.
crazy.
That's really smart. So for somebody who's watching who may be a little bit earlier on in their career, in their journey, or maybe they're just like wanting to get their first or next deal and build a team, or maybe have a team like yours, like what is something that they can do right now to find their first deal?
If I were starting over again, I would do the opposite of what I did, and that's what I did was I knocked doors and I called the list for 3 months. I wouldn't do that. I would find buyers in my market that are tight. I'd go find a dude that buys apartment complexes and commercial, and I'd say, hey, dude, I will find you anything you want. Just teach me your ways and pay me a fee if I bring you something. That's what I would do, because then you have someone that can tell you what's going on if you find a deal. But when you're new and you just start calling, you really have no idea what price you need stuff at, if anyone even wants your stuff. You go at it backwards. And I know they call it reverse wholesaling, but I think that's the way to do it when you're a beginner. Find someone, find out what their criteria is, and go find it, and then use piggyback off of them for knowledge, for when you need to find out like details.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's really smart because it's gonna save you that huge long learning curve, right? And all the pain that is associated with that. And so
Pain.
um, yeah, yeah. No pun intended, right?
That's right. That's right.
Awesome, man. So, I mean, that was one of the things that you know what? Actually, I met my business partner from calling kind of the reverse wholesaling off of for rent sign to see what he if he was looking to buy more property. That's how I met my business partner. And so,
Wow.
it there are real buyers out there who would absolutely love if you reached out to them, and if you can bring value, right? Don't just say, "Hey, can I pick your brain?" Like, lead with value, right? I think that's what's important for people to understand is don't be that guy who comes in and just takes. Like, remember that this person's probably already running a successful business. So what can you do to, bring value revenue to their business? And most people are willing to share, right? And the
Yeah.
ones
Yeah,
who are
for sure.
not, they, I don't know. I'll never understand that component, but um, cool, man. So from here, I mean, do you see yourself continuing to do the business model that you are right now in terms of forever, or do you have plans to shift down the road to more commercial? Because I know you had mentioned um, what you would do now if you were starting back then. So what are your future plans?
Yeah, I would like to get more into commercial. I think that's the play. I think the natural progression and things is start as a wholesaler, get into flipping, start buy and hold, then get into bigger stuff once you feel like comfortable, like holding multi units and stuff. So that's where I want to go on the real estate side. But I'm really passionate about the community I'm building. Everyone talks about community, but that's like what I really want. So I want to create a place where people can go and they get everything they need at like a super affordable price. Like, so I have a club mentorship that's like anybody can afford. I wish it existed when I started because I was dropping tons of dough on coaches. And if what I have created, if that existed, it would have saved me so much time and energy and money.
Yeah, man, that's so true, and we'll definitely let people know where they can learn more about that at the end here, Nathan. I'm
Mm.
curious though. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on mentorship. My very first mentorship, I put 50 on credit cards after about 3 to 6 months, and I
That,
did not know how I was going to pay it back. But
yep.
how much have you invested in mentorship, like out of the gate?
I think it's a total of like 110,000 right now on total mentorships with between masterminds. I've told you about the family. I've done Sean Terry's 6-figure syndicate mastermind, Young Blood, Jerry Norton. Um, what else? John Martinez training. I've bought in sales training from Franklin Covey. Just there's so much, dude. It's never ending, and I think it's awesome because every time I pay for coaching, like my goal is to get as tight as I can with the mentor, and network my butt off. And every coaching program I've ever been a part of, I'm tight with the mentor, and I've done a deal with someone in the program.
That's amazing, man. It's totally you set the intention ahead of time. So of course, naturally that's going to happen. You see people go to these though and say that it doesn't work because they weren't intentional. They didn't make it an effort to build those relationships. And one thing that I've heard a lot from you, man, and I can definitely tell based on just seeing who you're connected with and observing your community is the word community. And it's really cool to see that, man, because I think a lot of us who are around our age have so much opportunity. Like the internet makes this so easy to bring people together, to do things like this, to give away free information.
Yeah,
The
bro.
resources are out there, man. They're available to anybody and everybody who's watching this right now.
Exactly. And what I found out as I've done this business is the information it's fine, but that's not like what gets you paid, right? It's like having knowledge is great, but that doesn't do it all. Like it's all about taking action. And that's like why I give away everything for free and you give away tons of free resources because it's like go ahead, take everything I have, take every contract that I have, but that's not going to get you anywhere, right? Like you could be a brain surgeon, you could tell me everything to do, but that doesn't mean I'm going to know how to do it. I got to take action.
Yeah, it's so true. You have to take the action, and there are steps needed. Like there's a lot of things that happen once a deal is found. I mean, to get that thing to the payday, we every time. Like I have a few people who are negotiating deals in my community right now, and they're like, "Hey, man, I'm so excited! I got a verbal agreement," and I'm like, oh, "Man, do I want to break the bad news to him? I've seen this situation before. It's a divorce. Like this,
Hmm.
and this could happen." Like let me help you understand how I would handle this conversation, and having somebody in your corner who's been there, done that, seen this before is going to help you avoid that verbal agreement turning into a broken contract, right? And so I just
Yeah,
can't
bro.
emphasize how important that is. I see it all the time.
You know what, man? I don't count any check, any cash, and until it's in my bank account, bro. Because and even if
Yeah.
it's in your bank account, I've heard people that like have gotten paid and they still like, hey, I need you to send that money back or something crazy. So don't. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. Don't count because you know how it is in real estate. You can be like, oh yeah, I'm about to get this deal, and then something crazy will happen. So in about to piggyback off of what you're saying about things happening that you can't, you need someone in your corner. So this deal right now, the 19K deal that we're doing in Columbia, South Carolina, check this out. So that we were about to close, the buyer's ready, and there's a $3 million judgment on the guy that died that left the property to his kids, right? And so his kids are trying to sell it. The guy died. It's a probate. And the guy I'm JVing was like, bro, there's a $3 million judgment, right? And I'm like,
He was
okay.
thinking dead deal.
Yeah, thinking dead deal. And for me,
Yeah.
The sellers had an attorney. This was in Columbia, so the buyer had an attorney, and the buyer's like, we can't move forward because of this. And I'm like, well, hey, you have your buyer reach out to their attorney. I'm sure that attorney knows about it. So I'm doing other things, right? I'm working my business and nothing's happening, right? So I thought someone was going to take care of it. So I call back after like 5 days. I'm like, what's going on? Has your attorney reached out to their attorney? They're like, what are you talking about? What attorney? And I'm like, I explained to you that this seller has an attorney. And they're like, oh no, we just thought that the seller was by themselves. We haven't done anything. And I'm like, dude, if you don't know that deal could really die because I didn't follow up. So then I was like, no, get in touch, your attorney with their attorney, get this figured out. They're like, okay, fine. They got it figured out. We're good. But you got to like wipe people's butts in this industry sometimes, dude. You got to like hold people's hands. And if you don't know what to do, yeah, things can fall apart.
Yeah, you really do. And, obviously you want to find a good title company who can move things forward. But correct me if I'm wrong, is South Carolina, is that an attorney state? Or is that
It's
just the
not.
attorneys involved?
Yeah, I think there's attorneys involved. I don't think it's a attorney state. I think the attorney states, as far as I know, like Georgia and then up north and like New Jersey and all that. I hate attorney
Okay.
states, to be real, to be honest.
Yeah, I've actually only done a few deals in the attorney states, Iowa being one of them, which is kind of weird because it's in the Midwest. Um, but yeah, man, I mean, we have plenty of deals right now that if we didn't push it forward or have the knowledge to know what to do, our title company's not gonna know. Like they're gonna kill the deal because they're not gonna take action. Like they're not getting the paycheck, so
Exactly,
they're
bro.
gonna they're gonna drag their feet.
You got to push stuff forward like all the time. And that's where the experience comes in. Sometimes you don't know what to do, but now you figure it out.
100%. Cool, guys. So, for anybody who is hanging out here who has questions for Nathan, now's the time. Go ahead and drop your questions below, and that way we can use his wisdom while he's here, and so we can share some of that. And man, so many gold nuggets here today. Um, let me kind of let
Appreciate
me
it.
ask you this. Let me ask you this. So, while these people are thinking of the questions, and take advantage of this, guys, ask your questions here below. Have there been any like game changer books, any things along your journey that have really moved the needle for you? Because I know the most valuable piece of real estate for me is right between my ears, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'll always talk about how important that is with mindset and all that. So I always like to ask, like, do you have a favorite book that you'd like to share?
So it's interesting. I haven't read this book. I listened to the audio, but The Go Giver is something that comes to my mind, right? Because nothing changed for me until I believed that there was an abundance out there and I needed to give more than I received. And that's when everything changed. And that's why I think my community is blowing up, is because I'm giving everything away and I'm serving, right? And like I bring in people who are experts that have their own coaching programs. And I'm like, dude, take all the people. I don't even care. Take everybody, because there's enough for everybody. There's enough to teach. There's enough deals to do. So that's really changed my mindset. And if the people that are listening or will listen, it's like, don't think that there's limited deals. That's not true. There's so many people that are selling nationwide or even in your area. You just need to, think of the best way to leverage yourself, leverage other people, and you'll do deals.
I love that, man. That's a book that I read early on, and I think Tom Kroll is actually the one who recommended that book on a podcast that I listened to. So this is serious, guys. If you haven't read The Go Giver, you have to read that book. But it's one thing just to read it. You actually need to practice giving. And a lot of people too in my market, they're like, "Dude, you're crazy for training and telling everyone what you're doing." Like, because you guys have had a lot of success. I'm like, well, listen. I don't look at it as they're going to go take all of the deals. I look at it as how many more deals are we going to do together. And almost every single time that's the case. And that's not why I do it though. I think that's what's important to understand. It's going to come back no matter what every single time.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to work with people. It's fun to help others. So it works too.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So, all right. If nobody has any questions, where can people find out about your community, man, and get into your world?
You can find me on any platform on social media, Instagram, Nathan Payne official. I have a Facebook group. It's Painless Wholesaling Group. YouTube, Nathan Payne. And I have a Discord channel. That's like where my community mainly is. It's in Discord, but you got to like hit me up for me to give you the link. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you can just search it in Discord, Investor Thrive. But yeah, hit me up anywhere. If you DM me, it's either me responding to you or my virtual assistant. Shout out to AJ. Sometimes I'm really busy, so AJ takes over and responds for me. So if we've ever had a conversation, it's a 50-50 chance it's me or AJ. All right. You could just say, hey, is this AJ? And he'll tell you. But that's just how it is. You got to VAs are dope. If you don't have VAs, you should get one.
100%, man. Well, go follow Nathan, Investor Thrive. I'm gonna have to get in this Discord world. I talked to another person who's talking about Discord and how many people they have in there. I'm like, what do you mean you have 80,000 people on your Discord channel? Like, that exists? That's insane.
Bro, Discord is the future, brother. My Discord was dead, and then I hired one of my buddies from college who like all he does is live in Discord, and he's like pimped out my Discord, and he's pimping it out with like bots and automations and all this stuff. And I'm like, whatever, dude, go do your thing, blow this thing up. It's crazy.
I might have to talk to you about that one. That sounds pretty interesting. Somebody
Yeah.
asked here, and I don't know the answer to this question. Do you help people only help people that are in the States? Meaning like the United
And
States.
no. I mean, I've worked with people in Israel. I got a guy in Russia that I've been talking to. Got one guy in Australia. Shout out to my boy Graham Solomon in Australia. Anywhere, man. I mean, you can invest in the United States real estate from anywhere. Yeah, no problem.
It blows my mind too, because anybody who's watching this pretty much, at least from my knowledge, can wholesale a property in the United States. As long as you can obviously get the whatever paperwork you need. But am I missing anything? Is there anything special that they would need to do a deal out here?
A bank account.
A bank account?
Yeah, they need a bank account to get that check, right?
True.
I think that's
All right,
it,
good
right?
stuff.
Like, I mean, maybe you can do a deal like, I don't know how they would do it under their name. Maybe they have to start an LLC, but maybe they can do that. I haven't really dived into the legalities, but I know they can do it.
Okay, there you have it. Well, hit up Nathan if you want to do deals from all across the whole world.
Yeah.
If anybody else has any questions, drop them below. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping this thing up, man. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your value, your wisdom to the
Man.
community. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're coming on mine as well, correct? My podcast.
Yes. I don't know if
Give it
that's
set up.
next week or when that is, but yeah, we have it set up here. So I'm pumped to come on there and share some nuggets as well.
Well, yeah, drop everything you got for us, man. I know you got a lot of good stuff you can give us too.
100%. All right, dude. Any last thoughts? Any last words, advice for these people?
You know what? I think it's interesting. Last thing I'll leave with, a lot of people are skeptical about the real estate market, right? They're like, oh, yeah, it sucks, right? It's not like, yes, of course, right now it's weird, but that if sellers can't sell their houses quickly, who are they going to look to? They're going to look to investors that can structure deals, that can get it done. So this is the time. I mean, this is great. This is a time to get into this because a lot of opportunities. So don't think that this is a bad time. This is a good time.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. And do you have a few more minutes? Somebody did just ask another question.
I got the time, brother. I got a meeting in like let's see, 9 minutes. But yeah, I got 9 minutes.
We have time for one more question, but I just had to say this to piggyback off that. The economy is the economy. Don't let it be your economy. People who are out there with good intentions to help sellers out who need the help right now, they're still doing deals and they're still making money regardless of what the buyers are doing right now. in wholesaling real estate. We will close on many deals in the next month, many, many, many deals in the next month. And it's because we have just pivoted and we're moving forward like nothing has changed except for the fact that we got to buy the properties at a little bit more of a discount. So I just wanted to say that to piggyback off your advice because it's so true.
That's it.
All right, there it is. When you find MLS listings, do you only target distressed properties?
Yes. So when you're targeting MLS properties, do not be worried about the listing price. Okay. Who cares what they list it for? Because a lot of agents do a disservice to people by putting the properties really, really high because then no one makes any offers. And then I come in and I make an offer and they're like, well, shoot, that's the only offer I got. Yeah. Even though it's like 200K below what I listed it for. So target properties that look like they need to be rehabbed. If they've already been flipped, then it's like, that's a waste. Right. But if it looks like it needs to be updated, yes, target those, but do not worry if it's listed too high. I just did a deal, $25,000 wholesale fee. Again, I JV'd with somebody and it was listed for $450. I made an offer at $325. The agent laughed at me. He was like, yeah, nah, bro, I got a way better offer. Ended up that the person that I'm JVing with got it at $370. Okay. So $450. I offered $325. They offered $370. They sent it to me and said, hey, do you have a buyer? I said, dude, I made an offer at $325. You're way too high. I told them to renegotiate it. They got that agent down to $320, $5K less than what I had offered because we found out more stuff about the property, and we wholesaled the deal to one buyers for $345 to make $25K. So
Yeah.
that agent kind of screwed that guy, in my opinion, put it way, way too high, and no one was making offers. Then we came in and brought him lower. He should have accepted my first offer. He would have made $5,000 more, but that's what happens.
Yeah, and he would have saved some time. I mean, I see it all the time, dude. It happens all the time. And there's nothing you can really do about it. Just say, hey, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and sell that. And you hate to say it, but it's like when it doesn't sell, I don't know if my offer is going to be that high when the market's going this way, right?
Right.
And seeing a lot more motivated sellers calling us off of the MLS right now. So anyway, good stuff, man. Great question, by the way. So Nathan, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.
Later, everybody.